Is Gavin Newsom a lizard person? Obviously, yes, he is a lizard person. Here's a quick segment from Bill Maher's show this weekend.
That he is slick and that he is a lizard person, but everything, every single.
Oh, by the way, I love this. James Carville, that's crossing the line. First of all, James Carville is also a lizard person. Literally, he looks like a gecko of some kind, doesn't he? But the fact that James Carville thinks, oh, that's the politics of personal destruction. You're just name calling now. Really, James? Really? All right, we'll get to James in a minute. But Dave Rubin is pretty good here.
What does that mean? Well, lizards are slippery, but every single thing that he said was a lie. Everything he said. I mean, this place, California, and come on, Bill. This place, did you see the homeless encampment right outside this studio? Right outside the studio. I actually brought some fentanyl.
I talk about California's problems a lot, which is probably why Governor Newsom has not been on the show.
Yeah, that's true. But let's just take a moment, please, because, we didn't do a show on Friday, and that would have been the time to review this Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis debate, which was very interesting Thursday night. Now, I, like most of the people who watched the debate and actually paid attention to what was said at the debate and know politics and know things like, I used to live in California. I know very well what Gavin Newsom has done to destroy that state. Most of us thought that Ron DeSantis won the debate, partly because of, I'll show you one segment right here that is a perfect illustration. Again, listen to the facts, listen to what he has to say. You can't argue with his position here. And he, by the way, makes a position that every single Republican running for office, no matter what position from school board up to president of the United States, you should be hammering this issue home, because not only is it good for our country and good for our children, but it also is a political winner. And it has to do with the Democrats, personified by Gavin Newsom here, and their position on transgender issues when it comes to our kids.
I've been telling a lot of whoppers tonight, this may be the biggest. In California, if you're a parent in Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina, your minor child can go to California without your knowledge or without your consent and get hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and a sex change operation, all without you knowing or consenting. How in the heck is that honoring parents' rights when you're bringing people from out of state to go around their parents' backs and getting life-altering surgeries? That is radical. That is
Ron,
extreme.
these kids
that is an assault on parents' rights.
You know what, Ron?
It's not for you to decide. It's for the parents to decide. And the parents do not want their kids going to these other things.
Let me go to a follow-up. Let me stay on a follow-up. Let's turn to the issue of education.
Where's your decency and humanity and grace when it comes
to ripping somebody away.
Gentlemen, please. Nobody can hear you.
No, it now becomes impossible because they talk over each other. That's a tactic, by the way. Gavin Newsom did that on purpose and started talking over him because he made a good point. In fact, if you go back and watch the debate, he did that a lot. When Ron DeSantis made a good point, Gavin Newsom would talk over it to sort of mitigate it and lessen the impact of it. And also, you heard what he said. He didn't even deny the fact that a child without a parent's consent can cross state lines, go to California, and permanently alter their body surgically and medically, chemically. The only thing he said was, these kids just want to live. Where's your decency? Where's your humanity? As if decency and humanity and the desire to have a child live does not transcend to the parent. What he's saying, basically, Gavin Newsom, is that he has more decency, more humanity, and cares more about children's lives than their own parents do. In the inherent position that a Democrat politician who supports policies like this has, is that parents are the problem. Parents are the enemy. Children allowed to only make these decisions with their parents' consent are in danger of their own mother and father, and therefore must be protected from their mother and father. That's the Democrats' position here. And it's going to win a lot of elections for Republicans, I assure you. So moments like that, I think, tell me that Ron DeSantis won this debate. However, I want you to look at this, because I watched the debate on Thursday night. And then Friday morning, I went into my radio studio. I do a morning radio show in Washington, D.C. And while I was preparing for my show at around 4:30 in the morning, Fox News was replaying the debate on the television in my studio, and the sound was down. And so I was sort of glancing up and watching the debate with the sound down. And I realized something. If you don't care about being lied to, if you don't care about facts, if you don't care about policies, and if you just vote for somebody based on how they look and how they might carry themselves and how they feel, Gavin Newsom actually did very well for himself in this debate. Hear me out. Hear me out for a second. I want you to watch this with the sound down. And this is a moment when Gavin Newsom is talking about the border, an incredibly vulnerable position for any Democrat, right? And Ron DeSantis is making the point, is like, oh, are you kidding me? You're telling me Joe Biden wants to fix the border problem? He created the border problem. That's what he says. And it's another moment where they're talking over each other. I want you to watch the two of them without the sound. And maybe you'll see exactly what I see. This is him talking about the border and talking about what he's done in his state. And then he starts turning into DeSantis. And now you'll see both of them react. Do you see it? They'll close up again here in a second. I don't mean this as a personal slight to anybody, but are you seeing what I see? Listen, I don't like Gavin Newsom. The guy's got to be stopped. He's dangerous. He's horrible. He's a villain. He has ruined the state that I used to live in. And he can lie to you with that smile on his face and get away with it. But politics, sadly, especially electoral politics, is about more than being truthful. It's about more than facts. It's about more than policies, sadly. It's sometimes a beauty show, a beauty contest. And this isn't about Ron DeSantis not looking as good as Gavin Newsom or anything like that. It's about poise. It's about mannerisms. It's about presentation. It's about confidence. And it's about how you carry yourself on television. You remember the old story about the Kennedy-Nixon debates back in 1960, where if people heard it on the radio, they thought that Nixon won because he's smart and knew all the facts and knew all the issues. But if people watched on television, they thought Kennedy won because Kennedy looked relaxed and smooth and good looking, and Nixon was sweating and fidgeting. Listen, I'm not saying that Ron DeSantis can't beat Gavin Newsom in an election. I sure hope he can. And I think for the most part, the American people do care about facts, and they don't like being lied to, and they do care about policies. And most sentient beings would look at what's happened to California and look at what's happened in Florida and saying, okay, if I've got to choose my own adventure, I'm going the Florida route. But this stuff is important too. And I think Governor DeSantis has some more work to do. That goes well beyond being prepared with all of the facts and data that he clearly was prepared with at this debate. Hey, while we're on the Bill Maher thing, there was one other clip. I told you that we'd get back to James Carville, right? Well, watch this.
So, Mike Johnson, he's from your home state of Louisiana, the Speaker of the House. I read today, he wrote a foreword in a book that subscribes to conspiracy theories and homophobic insults. I thought, Mike Johnson wrote the foreword to the Bible? Do you think Mike Johnson can hold his party together now that he has taken the mantle?
Well, first of all, I don't think he can hold his party together. Second of all, you're exactly right. Mike Johnson and what he believes is one of the greatest threats we have today to the United States. When I promise you, I know these people.
You're talking about Christian nationalism.
Absolutely. This is a bigger threat than Al-Qaeda to this country. And let me tell you something. They have Speaker of the House. They got probably at least 2 Supreme Court justices, maybe more. Right? Don't kid yourself. And people in the press have no idea who this guy is, how he was formed, what the threat is. And this is a fundamental threat to the United States. It is a fundamental. They don't believe in the Constitution. They'll tell you that. Mike Johnson.
I wonder how the Marine Corps, by the way, feels about Mr. Carville wearing that sweatshirt, that hoodie on screen. Democrats really believe this. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what they really believe. But I can tell you that this is their tactic, and you should be used to it if you're not already used to it. at the very least, get used to it. See, Democrats can't talk about how good things are right now, even though they hold the reins of power everywhere. Even coming after 8 years of Barack Obama, they couldn't tell you how great things were. All they can do is make you two things. They have two messages. Democrats and the political left in this country and elsewhere around the world, when they're in power, they can't tell you how wonderful things are because you know better. They can't tell you how good they are at governance because you know better. You're living through it. No, all they can do is terrify you about what might happen if you put the other guys into power. This is what they do. This is all they've got, frankly. It's what Biden's entire campaign was in 2020, and it was built on a lie. And now it's going to be what they're going to try to do in 2024. Beware of this. And anytime somebody wants your vote and they sell you on their they sell you and try to attain your vote by telling you that if you don't vote for them, that other guy's going to, ruin everything moving forward. Just especially if they're in power, just to hit the pause button for a second and say, don't tell me what might happen if the other guy wins. Tell me about what you have actually done while you've been in office. When that's all they've got, you know that they're lying to you. And this is all we've heard from the left. That's all we've heard from the Democrats, honestly, since Ronald Reagan. And they keep scaring you and terrifying you about what's going to happen if these guys get into power. Mike Johnson is the most terrifying politician in America, they tell you right now. They didn't even know who Mike Johnson was a month and a half ago. It's embarrassing.